Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Nagrim, and today we'll look at their identical twins, the space and forms. Another name to call space is formlessness. So another name to call space is formlessness because it is without form. And forms, when I say forms, I mean the movement of forms. Okay. So I've written here the identical twins, space and forms. The it's identical. They are both identical when you view them in their when you view them wholesomely. Now there's no problem with the space. So I'm going to draw this triangle rectangle. Alright, so let's call this rectangle the divine. Let's call this square the divine. The square has a projection, has a mirror projection, okay, projecting space okay, and the space has by its side the eternal forms. Okay, so I'm sure if you are if you are if you are knowledgeable about the golden ratio, you should this should appear familiar. Okay, because this is how the golden ratio emerges. Okay, from this. All right, so we can break this into two, then 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 break this into two. Okay, so let me do that here. Okay, so this fragmentation goes on. That fragmentation goes on forever. It's eternal. Okay, but no matter how eternal, no matter how it is fragmented, it doesn't move outside of this box. Isn't that so amazing? That the forms in the present moment, the forms in the presence of the formlessness can be fragmented eternally. It can be fragmented internally, and it's easy to imagine when you realize that there is no there's no limit. So this limit that I've created, this line which serves as a limit, is just for illustration purposes. In reality, this does not exist. This line does not exist. But in trying to explain what is happening, we have to create a sort of limit. So by creating that limit, this forms get limited, right? But in reality, this this fragmentation has no limit. It goes on, it goes on. And that is why we are able to have so many varieties of forms. We have water, we have air, we have fire, we have wood, and then human intelligence mixed. We have human intelligence inside of there. So mixed with human intelligence, now we have computers, we have internet, we have all sorts of things, right? So we have the divine here, whole, perfect, but able to project into this and this. Is able to project into space and is able to project into the internal forms, right? So how does this work? How does this work? These two are identical when you look at it wholesomely. When you look at it wholesomely, you'll be able to see that they are identical in nature, because whatever fragmentation is projected, this formlessness, the formless space remains. No matter the depths of fragmentation, this space remains. And because this space remains, we can say that the divine projecting this is able to be in any of these parts. Okay, so the divine whole, awesome, is able to express itself in eternally in different varieties of forms. Okay, so what this means is that no matter where you are in form, no matter the kind of form that exists, there is always an opportunity to return back to the divine. There is always an opportunity to return back to the divine. Okay? Another interesting thing to pay attention to is that the space always appear regardless of where we are in the fragmentation of forms. So the forms are always appear in fragments, right? But no matter the fragments, no matter where you are, there is the space in the present moment. There's always that space, that formlessness in the present moment, holding the fragments of form. Okay? So the eternal forms, the nature of eternal forms is that it remains fragmented. So when you watch there are a lot of images that shows how these fragments can look like, can appear. They can appear very very euphoric, very amazing, that brings a lot of joy and happiness, or they can appear very slow, regular. Um, they can look so normal. Our job is to be able to observe, to be able to keep awareness to on the formlessness of the space, regardless of what appears within these forms, within these internal forms. So this is very important because the space itself must appear alien to you. It's not that it must appear alien. It is alien. It is an unfamiliar phenomenon. Okay, so in these internal forms, we as humans, say we as humans live here. All right. Now most humans are right here. Okay, most of us are sleepwalking. Some of us are awake. Some of us are aware of the possibility that extraterrestrials can appear. Okay, they can appear from any other parts of the form. So this eternal form, I need you to view this part as vast as the cosmos. Okay, anything that appears, anything that comes into appearance is under this place. Okay, it doesn't matter what that thing is. It can be the whole universe itself. It can be aliens. It can be UFOs. It can be if a friend, a pet, ant, microorganisms. They all appear here. Regardless of what appears here, anybody who allows themselves to dwell more on this place would not be carried away, would not be so carried away by the movements that happens here. Okay, this form, this eternal form, is designed in such a way that it captures awareness. It captures awareness from this into whoever it is that is controlling a segment or a part of the forms here. So let's say, for example, the story of Enki and Enlil. According to history, according to conspiracy theories, according to um, religious texts, Enki and Enlil are extraterrestrials with their whole group that came to Earth, and then they did some things to monkeys, and then they did some things to our DNA, and then we moved from 12 DNA strands to 2 DNA strands. Whatever story, listen, whatever story that comes into our awareness, and whatever it is that we notice in the forms that happens here, whatever story it is that is happening here, whoever it is that is controlling the stories that is happening here, whether the person is an external person, that is somebody outside of us, or it is our thinking, our thought processes, which are all appearing here in this place. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, if we as sovereign beings can realize this formlessness that is always in the presence, can realize this formlessness as the first unfamiliar phenomenon, as the first alien, can realize this space as the unknown, the unknowable, right? That carries all forms of appearances. It carries all forms of appearances. Then there is nothing that can appear that will be so amusing. It doesn't matter if the alien that appears is 12 feet tall. It doesn't matter whether they are interdimensional beings, whether they are extraterrestrials. It doesn't matter whosoever, whatsoever. It doesn't matter. Because the one important thing, the one important phenomenon that overshadows every other phenomenon, the space, the formlessness, is already unfamiliar, is already a stranger. It is a stranger to me. It is a stranger to anything that is within form. In the experience of humanity, the experience of the experience of the human experience. In the human experience, we have created a time frame such that we say that, okay, uh, we live for about 80 years, 90 years, 100 years. There are some forms in their own reality whose time frame is 10,000 years. They live for 10,000 years, 9,000 years, 11,000 years. There are some forms that live for 200,000 years, 250,000 years, 300,000 years. There are some forms that live for 1 million years. That's from our own point of view. Regardless of whatsoever forms that appear, regardless of what it is, who it is, they do not take the truth from us. What's truth? The truth that we are all in this place. We are all embedded in this formlessness. And this formlessness is embedded in the divine. What is the divine? The best description from our point of view is the idea of love. Not the feeling of love, the idea. Not the I'm feeling love, I feel so much love. I feel so much emotional love. I feel so much love for people. No, not that. It's the idea. The idea of love is the actions, the decisions, the choices that we make because we are thinking in terms of unity consciousness. So that idea is the closest thing we can use to ascribe the divine. And that idea, that unity consciousness, is what makes the space, the formlessness, the way it is also what makes the internal forms the way it is. Okay? Because these forms are ever changing, always changing. In one way or the other, they're changing, right? But no matter the change, they remain kind of the same. They don't move outside of their self. Just it's like having a pot of soap that has the ability to change its texture, its color, its color, yeah, into anything, into any form, right? But it does not, without adding anything to it, without subtracting anything to it, it's able to change its forms and color, its texture into anything that it feels like, right? So that is how this works, okay? And the reason it's like that is because it is borrowing its identity, it's borrowing its behavior from the nature of space. While of course the space is borrowing its behavior or its characteristics from the nature of the divine. Okay? So how does this help you? Now, regardless of where you are, here, regardless of where you are, regardless of what is happening here, you can always realize that everything is already perfect, complete, because this is just a mirror image of this. If this is a mirror image of this, so imagine looking at the mirror, but the thing who is able to look at the mirror is able to change forms, is able to change its form eternally, infinitely. So regardless of the forms or whatever it's changing into, it remains perfect, right? And so in this sense of perfection, we can live wholesomely, we can live the way that we are expected to live, and not be so carried away by the changing forms, right? Because we are always in the presence of change, of things that don't change. They are changeless. They are always the same the way they are. Okay? Right. And the last thing I would like to say is that the form, the limited forms always carry the whole thing, the whole package. You can always tell what the cosmos is doing from the activities that is happening around you, from the sound that is going on, from the movement that is happening in your present moment. You can always tell what the cosmos is up to. Okay, and this way you can adjust your thought processes and your feelings based on what you feel is about to happen. The more you are able to pay attention to this, the more it becomes lucid. It becomes lucid. And the more it becomes lucid, the more you have control over the changing forms. The you who is having control is the divine, right? The divine is the unity consciousness, the idea of love. It's not a single person loving something. It's everything, everyone in unity, in perfect unity, playing a game, acting out a movie. It's not me loving something, it's everything as my awareness playing a game of forms. Okay. So if this has been helpful, please give my video a like and share it among whoever it is that you feel like you can share with. And I'll see you in the next video.